Hi everyone, I'm Love here, back again with another Awaken Chaos Era video. So, in today's video, I'll be doing a hero build and spotlight on the new legendary hero that I've acquired recently through an alpha pack, and that hero is Shane. Shane is a legendary wood affinity hero from the Holy Light Empire, and he specializes in supporting his allies by buffing up their damage output and also inflicting various debuffs on the enemies so that they will receive more damage from your heroes while simultaneously decreasing the damage dealt to your heroes. If you happen to get that special offer pack that allows you to select specific hero, then I highly recommend you to get Shane because he'll be very beneficial in speedrunning the dungeons, something similar to Zitlin and Florence, provided you have the necessary damage dealer for the particular area, as his skills are mainly enhancing their damage output. Alright, so let me give you an overview of what this video will be covering. The first part will be going over briefly on Shane's character design and animation, and then what are his stats to be prioritized on him so that we know how to gear him suitably. Next is to understand how his skills and trait work so we can plan on how to use him in specific areas in the game, and also come up with the best combination of heroes to pair up with him to unleash his full potential. Next, we'll be going over the recommended gears for Shane, and also substitutes in case you're not able to farm them depending on your account progression, and then quickly talking about the optimal masteries for him. Once this is out of the way, I'll be showcasing Shane in various parts of the game to see how he performs. The first one will be the Arcane Dominator dungeons, where we used to farm specific gear sets for our heroes, and more specifically the Roaring Tulpa, Magisteria, Queen of Tides, and Wish of the Winds. Next, I'll be moving on to showcasing Shane in the No Man's Land dungeon, where we used to farm the skill masteries to upgrade our elite, epic, and legendary hero skills. After that, I'll be using Shane in the arena to see how he performs in short burst battle, because arena have these annoying lightning attacks that hits your team after 7 rounds. Then I'll be showcasing him in the guild boss to observe how he can help his allies against the guild boss banker in the lengthy battle. Finally, I'll be doing a quick demonstration on how he can help your team in the adventure mode to speed farm those EXP jelly and gold coins. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started with this hero guide. So basically, Shane is a wood affinity hero from the Holy Light Empire. So this is his character animation, where he uses his hands to do some trolling of a clock with some Romanian numbers, and then he can disappear himself and pop up again with his bluish cloak that is helping him to teleport left and right. So this is basically his character design and his overall look. He has like a blonde hair with a white English dress with a nice boots, and yeah, he reminds me about an anime character. I can't remember what's the name of the character. Alright, moving on to his stats, he has an S rating for speed, A rating for attack and health, and B rating for defense and critical rate. So he's mainly like a supporter hero, doesn't do much damage based on his critical rate, which is quite low. And yeah, so let's quickly check his stats here. So basically, these are the stats that I prioritize on him, which has some high amount of health, defense, speed, and then some focus and resistance. Basically, this is my current build for one of the dungeons, the Wish of the Wind. That's why I had to build him that fast. I'll show you various gears, different type of gears that I use on him for other parts of the game. Alright, so let's quickly do a quick overview of his abilities, starting with his trait known as the Karmic cycle. Whenever a team member deals damage to an enemy, increases all team members' damage dealt by 6% until the end of this round. Max is 10 stacks. So basically what this means is, if any of your heroes perform one attack, this will trigger Shane's unique ability to apply this buff in the yellow color border that increases the attack stats of my heroes. No, I think it's not attack stats, it's the damage dealt by 6%. So this one means you boost up the damage output of your basic ability, special ability, as well as the ultimate ability. I think it's a better version of Williams, because currently Williams, who's an epic hero, right, has this trait that allows him to boost the damage output of all of the hero's basic ability, but this one amplifies the damage for all abilities, not just the basic ability. And once you ascend him to 5 ascensions, this will allow the team member to survive from fatal attack, just like similar to how the Magisteria minions work. Whenever they get a damage that can kill him, they restore their health 30% of the max health and then remove the negative effects, which only occurs once per battle. So this is the Ascension here. You need around about 5 copies, which is quite a lot of copies, but after testing him, right, you do not need the fifth Ascension for him to work well. You just need 1 copy of him like this guy to be able to help you to speedrun in all dungeons. Alright, moving on to the basic ability known as the Clockwork Smite. Deals 120% damage to one enemy and applies defense down for 2 rounds. Basically, this defense down is the better version, which applies then minus 50% defense. So in order for him to consistently apply this defense down, you need to build him with some focus stats, especially for the higher levels, because higher levels will have a high resistance enemies. Next, I'll be moving on to his special ability known as the Space Time Warp. It has a 4-turn skill cooldown. This applies attack up and damage up to one ally for 2 rounds and gains 1 bonus turn. This bonus turn is referring to him. If you're running Shen on auto mode, right, he will always prioritize on using this Space Time Warp first, then followed by his ultimate ability. This will help him to reduce the skill cooldown of his Space Time Warp as well. And this attack up and damage up buff is really useful in many parts of the game when you are using him to boost up your damage dealer, especially for like arena and also in the dungeons. However, the AI will randomly choose one hero. So if you have one supporter hero, which is Shen, and 3 damage dealers, then you'll be okay because this buff will be applicable to any of your damage dealers. However, if you bring 2 supporter heroes in the team, then this might not work well because this buff will apply to the supporter that does not deal much damage. And finally, we have the Wheel of Destiny, Shen's ultimate ability that has a 4-turn skill cooldown. Deals 150% damage to all enemies and applies Law of Karma and attack down for 2 rounds. Law of Karma is when attacked by units outside their turns, damage received increases by 30%. Basically, it's like a unique buff of like increased damage taken. You can think of it something like that, where each time you attack them, they also receive additional 30% more damage. And attack down is basically to reduce the damage output of the enemy. So this one really works well, especially for the higher level dungeons, where the enemies, once they receive this Law of Karma, as well as the attack down, they will deal less damage to you, as well as they will receive more damage from your heroes. This one is really good for like guild boss and dungeon bosses. Alright, so that's basically it for his abilities. So based from this, right, we can see he has a vast supportive skills that is all mainly focusing on offensive abilities to allow your damage dealers to deal more damage to the enemies. It's more focused on the offensive side compared to like other supportive heroes like Florence and Zitlin. Florence is like somewhere in the middle. It's like a hybrid supporter who can heal and also apply the increased damage taken. So it's offensive and some defensive abilities. But with Shen, right, it's all full offensive, which will allow him to make your speedrun team even faster. Let's move on to the recommended gears from the developers. So let's check here. So this is the hero guide from the Awaken Chaos Era developers. They recommended Raider set, Revival set, and Curse set. I have not tried Curse set yet, but Curse set is basically allows him to have a basic ability to have a chance to trigger his basic ability to apply that defense down. But I don't think this one is necessary. Maybe it's useful for certain parts of the game. Maybe like short burst battle, where after he applies that attack down and Law of Karma, then he has a chance to apply that defense down, which allows your heroes to deal more damage. But you can substitute it with the Sundering Purgatory to apply the defense down as well. Or you can have another hero to pair up with Shen, like William, to apply the defense down. So it's not necessary to have the Curse set. However, I highly recommend you to get the Revival set to heal him. And Raider set is kind of optional because you can use Raider set to boost up his speed for certain parts of the game like the Wish of the Wind and also maybe like guild boss. However, Shen has already have a very large base speed stats, so Raider set is not really important unless you want to build him for super high speed like for the Wish of the Wind. And here are the hero ratings given by the players. Most of the players are putting him like 5 and 4.9, but I'm not sure why they place him 4.9 for Gemini Dragon. I have not tested him yet for Gemini Dragon because I know that if you perform multiple hits on this boss, the boss will gain the Berserk, multiple stacks of Fury and also gain into Berserk mode. If you guys tried him in Gemini Dragon, do let me know how he performed because I couldn't find the right strategy for him. Let's quickly go through the gears that I have geared him for him. So I have two presets for Shen. The first one is a Revival set that helps him restore 10% of his max health at the start of turn or 20% if under 50% health, and a Raider set to boost up his speed. This one is mainly for Arena as well as the Wish of the Wind. The second one is I have the Revival set as well as a Guard set. So it's like this one. This one is much more slower, like a slower build, but this one gives him an added survivability because Guard set, right, they provide an additional 30% shield that is equal to 30% of his max health for 3 turns at the start of the battle. So this one really helps him to survive in like the Magisteria dungeon, which I will show you him there. Alright, so let's quickly go through the gear stats. So this is the weapon. that has some speed, focus, defense. And then this is the helmet with some health, defense, resistance. This is the coat with some focus, health, agility. Ideally, you want to have a defense stats because agility stats have been nerfed. And then we have a speed boots with some defense percentage, focus, agility, and attack. Ideally, this one should be like HP percent and resistance to help him to resist the debuff placed by the enemies. And next, I have health ring with some focus and resistance and some speed. And finally, this is a health necklace with some focus, agility, and defense. His glyphs and abilities are all maxed out. Alright, so for his Ascension, I did not have any extra copies of him, so I just leave it at that. He's good at this current state as well. And for the masteries, I did not apply any mastery books on him. If I have extra mastery books, then probably I'll just invest it in the gear mastery effect to boost up his health ring, necklace ring, and also the speed boots, as well as the physic to gain additional 15 speed, health, and defense. For the remaining stats here, it's not really important. Same goes with the ability, because this ability is mainly used for like PvP, the true strike, and increase the damage output of his abilities here. As you notice, right, his Wheel of Destiny just improved like 50% damage, and this space time warp will be reduced by 1 turn cooldown. Maybe it will make it faster to cool down this skill as well, and then also additional 10% damage. So the good one would be just to reduce the cooldown quickly for this space time warp. Alright, so that's basically it for his masteries. Alright, so let's start with the Arcane Dominator dungeon. I'll showcase him first in the Roaring Tulpa. So previously, right, I have Florence in this spot, then I now replace Florence with Shane, because although this team is lacking healing, right, it allows your heroes to deal damage quickly to wipe out the enemies before they can wipe out your team. And for the spells, I'll be using Sundering Purgatory as well as Gaia's Renewal. Sundering Purgatory is for the AoE defense down to clear the first wave quickly, and Gaia's Renewal is for supplementary healing because there's no AoE healer here. The only healing that I'll get is from Bela. Alright, so at the start of the battle, Shane will go first because he's the fastest in the team. He will then apply the attack up and damage up on one of my damage dealers here, followed by the Law of Karma and attack down. Then second would be Valera to nuke down the frontline minions, and then my single target damage dealers like Bela as well as Carol will perform their hits here. Alright, so we are now on the second wave, which is quite fast. So now the good thing about Shane is his basic ability applies the defense down, right? So this allows my main damage dealers to take down this big boulder guy quickly. Right, so now we have like 3 more minions that we need to clear off. Alright, so that's the another Law of Karma ultimate ability. Right, so we've cleared the second wave. But the most time consuming part is the boss wave here, because the boss wave, right, the boss have like three layers of health, and we need strong damage dealers to quickly take down the boss health. And another thing that I've observed, right, the Ace developers have already changed some of the mechanics of the heroes here, where once they reach the boss wave, right, all of their ultimate abilities will be reset. So they can like all use their ultimate abilities at the get-go. This is really useful, especially for damage dealer teams, because I think the Ace developers is more focusing on making the damage dealer teams much more useful in this aspect, rather than focusing more towards the poison damage heroes like Gangelo, Santis, and so forth. Okay, we are now on round 8. So we are almost knocking down the boss. The boss have like 50% health left. I think we can clear this boss in like round 9. After the battle ended, let's see how fast it takes to clear this wave. All 3 waves here. Okay, we are done here. Let's see how fast it took. So this team took around about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. My previous team using Florence, right, is 3 minutes, close to 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So that is a savings of like more than 30 seconds here. And last time my Bela is only 1 Ascension, and now currently she has like additional 2 or 3 more Ascension here to get the additional attack and speed buff. So this, I think, somehow helps the battle a bit, to reduce the time it takes. But now I'm like below 3 minutes to complete this battle here. So if you need a good supported hero to speed farm the Roaring Tulpa, then Shane will be a good alternative if you do not have like Zidlin, Florence or Bran. Alright, so let's move on to the next dungeon. Alright, so now we are in the Magisteria Helm stage 4. I'll skip the formation to show you the heroes. And for this team, right, I'm using Opal, Shane, Natalia and William. In my previous team, right, I have Zidlin in the slot of Shane. So now I just replace Shane with Zidlin. Basically, Zidlin role is to apply the curse debuff, which allows the enemy to receive double damage by the end of the two turns. So Zidlin on the other hand is more of direct damage dealing rather than waiting for 2 turns. And for the spells, I'll be using Sundering Purgatory as well as Gaia's Renewal for supplementary healing, because there's no healers here. Alright, so if you want to see how I built this team, right, you can check out my previous video on how I speed farm the Magisteria. Basically, I just used the Zidlin, Opal, Natalia and William. Now I just replace Zidlin with Shane itself. And the important part about this build, right, for Shane is you need to gear him in a revival set as well as a guard set. This is to prevent the guard set is to prevent him from taking too much damage, which triggers the usage of the Gaia's Renewal for the AoE healing, which we want to prevent that. And once the Shane takes his turn, right, he'll be able to heal himself twice from the revival set, which is a bonus. So now we are on the boss wave, right? And Shane will be using his ultimate ability to apply the Law of Karma with the attack down to reduce the damage intake from the boss, followed by William with the AoE defense down, followed by Opal joint attack, the activation of joint attack, and then Natalia is to clear the wave. Although there's only one AoE attacker here, right, but we do not need to worry because this will be handled by Natalia's counter attack. That's the reason why William is here, to knock out those minions. And there's another change that is done by the Ace developers here, which is to make the boss, right, prioritize on the hero that has the highest attack stats. So for my case, right, I made my Natalia here with the highest attack stats. So this means that with the highest attack stats, the boss will apply the bomb to her, but the bomb will not be able to be applied because there's an immunity buff there. Right, so this one took around about 1 minute and 37 seconds. Previously with my Zidlin team, right, it took around about close to 2 minutes, maybe like 1 minute and 50 seconds or close to 2 minutes. Now it reduces the time by almost like 20 seconds here. Last time it's like close to 2 minutes. For Florence team, right, if you use Florence in this team composition with Joseph, maybe like Opal and Natalia, that would take around about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So even though Shane is a weak affinity to this boss, right, it doesn't really matter as long as you're able to deal a massive amount of damage before the boss has a chance to deal damage to your heroes. It's like a speed damage game here. Alright, so now we are on the Queen of Tides Helm stage 4. I'll skip the formation to show you the heroes. And this time, I do not use Florence in this team. I use Shane instead. And I found that Shane speeds up the run even faster for this team. And for this team squad, right, I have Shane, Opal, Rachel and Natalia. And for the spells, I'll be using Sundering Purgatory as well as Gaia's Renewal. Previously, right, for Florence team, I used Sundering Purgatory and the Last Breath to revive Florence because Florence is a weak affinity hero there. And she couldn't survive those multiple waves from the Tide Guards as well as the boss single target attack. But in this case, right, Shane is a stronger affinity, which allows him to survive the boss attack. Oh yeah, I've also created a guide on the water boss using this team with Florence. But this time I just replaced Florence with Shane. So if you want to have a more detailed guide on how I built all of these heroes, do check out my previous video in my YouTube channel, as I have all the stats of these heroes there. Okay, so in this battle, Shane will apply the defense down, like he usually does here, which makes it much more easy run to clear off all of the enemies here with Natalia's AoE attack. The downside of this team, right, is they do not have this AoE bonus attack, which does not allow them to quickly kill the right target that can heal the boss. However, we do not need to worry about that because our main focus is to take down the boss as quickly as possible and preventing the right target from always healing the boss. And yeah, for this one, I've speed tuned Rachel to be in the middle of the sequence of the tight guys as well as the boss to remove that buff, and as well as activate her special ability that deals massive amount of damage to water units. So as you notice, right, the boss tried to apply the water prison on my hero, but it is deflected or resisted because Natalia has the immune buff there to prevent the water prison from taking effect. So for this case, right, you need to make Natalia as the highest attack stats rather than Rachel. Otherwise, the boss will target Rachel instead. Okay, with the consistent application of the defense down, we can take down the boss within 6 rounds itself. Alright, so that's the battle. Let's see how fast it took. So this one took around about 1 minute and 52 seconds. Previously it's like 2 minutes and 20 seconds with my Florence team. Now it reduces like around about close to 20 seconds there. Alright, so that's basically it for Shane in the Queen of Tides, which is pretty fast. And if you want to speedrun this battle, in case if you're not lucky to get Florence, you can use Shane instead. But in order for Shane to work well, you need to pair him with strong damage dealers. Alright, so we are now in the Wish of the Wind, and for the Wish of the Wind, right, we need to make our heroes really fast. And I need to do some configuration on my Shane and Natalia first, because currently they are speed tuned for the remaining dungeons there. So that's why we need to make some modification for this boss, because this boss need high amount of speed to go before the boss. So currently my Shane in the guard set, right, is 218 speed, and now I just need to use the preset for Witch of the Wind that boosts up his speed to 251 to allow him to go first before the enemies there. And also I need to do some modification on my Natalia, because Natalia is built pretty slow but super powerful. However, I do not need that extra damage on her. That's why I just need to replace attack boots with speed boots instead. So let me find a speed boots for the Wish of the Wind. A Raider set. Okay, I have one here. So this reduces my speed by reduces my attack by 744, but increases my speed by 50. And for the spells, I'll be using Sunray Purgatory as well as Guy's Renewal. And in my previous team, right, I used Opal, William, Natalia, and Zidlin. Now I replace Zidlin with Shane. So in case if you do not have Zidlin or Florence, then you can use Shane instead. Alright, so this is the first wave. And now William applies the AoE attack, followed by his partner here, Shane, to apply the Law of Karma. And I purposely made Opal slow because later once she activates her joint attack, right, she will be able to attack whenever her allies perform their attacks. So in that way, right, you can build your Opal super powerful to deal massive amount of damage to the enemies there. That's the joint attack from Opal. Now we're on the boss wave, which is pretty fast. The main priority is to target the boss instead of targeting the side minions. The one good thing about this boss, right, is that this boss only has 1 life bar rather than 3 life bars like almost for all dungeon bosses here, which makes it easy to speed farm this boss quickly. So the boss already have this Law of Karma, defense down from William. Now the boss already has 40% health. So once William applies the counter attack buff, right, we're able to clear this boss in the 5th round itself. That's the additional defense down, more attacks. Oh, you are able to finish the boss without triggering the counter attack buff. So that's pretty fast. So this battle took around about 1 minute and 26 seconds. With my Zidlin team, right, since we had to wait for the curse debuff to take its turn, because this one is based on the enemy's turn, right? Last time it took me around about close to 2 minutes as well, maybe 1 minute and 50 seconds. So this one reduces the time almost by more than 20 seconds here. So I think the savings, right, using Shane, right, is around about close to 15 to 20 seconds. Alright, so that's basically it for the showcase of Shane in these 4 dungeons. Currently, I do not have any particular team that I can think of using Shane in Gemini Dragon. If you do share in the comments below, so I'll try it on my account here. Alright, so I'll be showcasing Shane in the No Man's Land dungeon, starting with the Bane Wraith at stage 11. So in this team, right, I have Bulin, Scarlet, Shane, as well as Jacob. And for the spells, I'll be using Sundering Purgatory as well as Gaia's Renewal for supplementary healing, because there's no healer here. So previously, right, this team, I used Florence here to provide the AoE bonus attack, increased damage taken, as well as the AoE healing. However, once I use Shane, right, I do not have those benefits. But Shane provides other benefit apart from that by providing decreased attack using his ultimate ability. This will decrease the damage dealt by the boss to your heroes. So this means that you can less likely to get injured and trigger the Gaia's Renewal quickly. The good thing about this Shane is able to amplify the damage or boost up your hero's damage output using his special trait, and the trait is represented with the yellow buff icon on top of the health bar. So this allows your joint attackers hero like Bulin and Scarlet to deal massive amount of damage within a short period of time. So previously, right, this team took around about 1 minute and 45 seconds, but with Shane alone, right, with the support of Shane, it reduces the time to 58 seconds. And now moving on to the Flame Lizard at stage 11. And this team, I'll be using William, Shane, Natalia, as well as Sarah. Previously, I used Florence here as well for the increased damage taken. And the spells I'll be using is Smothering Flames as well as Sundering Purgatory. So Smothering Flame is to trigger the damage. Then I can use my hero here to apply the Sundering Purgatory. But since they have changed the dungeon AI, now all of my heroes' ultimate ability will be ready by the boss wave. So it should allow my heroes to boost up the damage quite significantly, which allows you to speedrun even faster than Florence, because Florence AoE bonus attack, right, will trigger additional skill animation. So this one took around about 25 seconds. Previously it took around about maybe like 35 to 40 seconds here. Then this is the third No Man's Land dungeon, which is the Wrathful Flood. We'll be showcasing Shane here at stage 11 as well. So in this team I have Opal, Ciara, Shane as well as Natalia. For the spells I'll be using Gaia's Renewal as well as Sundering Purgatory. So previously I used Rachel in place of Shane here. So what can Shane do here is to amplify the damage output of your heroes. And in order for this team to work well for this stage of dungeon, you need to build your heroes really well, because otherwise, right, if the boss is able to survive all of your heroes' attack within that round itself, then the boss will be able to heal himself at 100% HP. So if your damage dealers cannot do much damage, I highly recommend you to use an unhealable hero like Jonathan to place the debuff there. So this one took around about 33 seconds to clear this boss. Next, we'll be showcasing Shane in the Deschmir, the Light Tower at stage 11. So for this team, I have Rachel, Natalia, Opal as well as Shane. And for the spells, I'll be using the same thing, which is Gaia's Renewal as well as Sundering Purgatory. So previously, I used Florence here because Florence is able to strip away the buff of the Light Tower boss, which is quite helpful, because if the boss have too much buff on himself, right, they'll be able to perform an AoE nuke that deals AoE true damage that can quickly wipe out all of your heroes. So for this team, right, in order for Shane to work 100% for this team, right, you need to make all of your heroes pretty fast. Otherwise, right, if the boss have a chance to place the speed up buff on himself, right, this will spoil the run, because the boss can cut in your team to nuke out your heroes first before Rachel can be able to strip away those buffs. Alright, so this one took around about 48 seconds to clear the boss here. And finally, we are showcasing Shane here in the Shadow Captive, the last No Man's Land dungeon at stage 11. So in this team, right, I have Shane, Natalia, Sarah as well as Opal. And for the spells, I'll be using the Shield of Mercy as well as Gaia's Renewal, because I can't use any Sundering Purgatory here because the boss are immune to debuff. So using Shane here would be slightly difficult because all of his debuff, right, like decrease attack, law of karma, defense down, is not working here. As you can notice here, the boss has this permanent immunity buff, so this makes Shane's value here is not that great. However, your heroes are still able to benefit from the trait, the yellow buff there, to boost up the damage output. For every stack, right, it increases the damage output by 6% up to a maximum of 60% here. So if your heroes are not able to deal much damage, I highly recommend you to use Yolanda instead, because Yolanda can provide a shield buff to protect your heroes. And there you have it. So this is the battle result. For this Shadow Captive, it took around about 44 seconds. Alright, so there you have it, using Shane in all across of these dungeons, and I found that the most surprising one is Bane. Shane helps immensely in providing a boost to Bane Wraith damage dealers, where we can knock out the boss within 1 minute itself. This is really good. And then he's also quite helpful for the Flame Lizard and Wrathful. For a lot of the Holy Light as well as Shadow Captive, both of them are pretty RNG, because a lot of the Holy Light, the boss will have some random buff that puts up himself, like speed up buff, critical resistance up, and Shadow Captive is most likely immune to debuff, so Shane is not able to fully unleash his fullest potential there because of the immunity on the enemies. And apart from that, the Plague really deals a lot of damage to heroes that takes multiple bonus turns. So like when Shane took like two turns within that round, the Plague deals double damage on his health, which makes him unable to survive at least 2 rounds like Sarah, Natalia and Opal. Alright, so now I'll be showcasing Shane in the arena to see how he performs there in a short burst battle. Let's see if my heroes can cut them. So currently my heroes are much faster than this team, so I do not need to worry. So for this team, right, we'll need to use Shane's special ability first, Space Time Warp on my damage dealer. So I'll place on Hitoshi the ninja, and then only then I'll use the Wheel of the Destiny to apply the Law of Karma and attack down. Followed by Tia. I want to prevent the Luna Melissa from controlling my heroes here. And then with my fast ninja Hitoshi, you'll be able to nuke down all of these heroes here with one hit, because with the help of the attack up and damage up from Shane. So that's basically the pattern on how you want to use Shane in the damage nuking team. Alright, so my team is much more faster than them. So what I'll do is I'll apply the defense down first, followed by boosting Hitoshi, my main damage dealer, and then applying the Law of Karma and attack down, in case if they're able to survive and attack me back. Then I'll need to freeze their heroes. Now nuke them down. For around about 30,000 to 47,000 damage. So it's pretty difficult for those heroes to sustain the attack. Previously, if I use Florence in this team, when she performs her ultimate ability, the ultimate ability will heal all of these heroes, which gives extra turn to Ashlyn, because whenever Ashlyn have enemies healing themselves, right, you quickly boost up that rage meter and instantly giving her the additional bonus turn. So we want to prevent that. Okay, let's nuke them down with Hitoshi, and the extra damage will nuke down Mitasia there. So currently Jonathan defensive team is pretty weak here. Alright, so now I'll be showcasing Shane in the guild boss against the banker, the light hero here. And for this team, I'll be using Bulin, Jacob and Marin Shadowblood with Shane. And the spells I'll be using will be Guy's Renewal and Rage Aura. I'll just showcase the first team instead of both of this team because it will be a lengthy battle. So in this showcase, right, I want you to pay attention to how the buff been stacked on using Shane's trait. As you notice, right, each time my heroes attack the boss, they gain 1 stack of that yellow damage up buff. So now it's like 3 buff, and each time you attack, it stacks up 1 more buff. So this one works really well with joint attackers like Marin Shadowblood and Bulin, and heroes that can perform multiple turns like Jacob to deal damage like Jacob and Hector. And it also be really helpful to get the curse set on those heroes as well, because this will also trigger additional attacks, which means that your heroes will be able to increase the stack much more faster. So that's the joint attack. from Martial Blood and Bulin, and more attacks from Jacob. So now Jacob has the full 10 stacks that allows him to deal 60% more damage. By the end of this turn, right, or at the end of this round, all of my heroes will have their stacks reset to 0, as you notice there. So this damage output really helps for Mara Shadowblood as well, because he also boosts up her true damage as well as her skills damage. So currently the damage output is like 3000 for... I believe he doesn't improve the true damage. I think it's mainly on the skill damage output, because the true damage is based on the guild boss health here. So with the help of a Bulin in this team, right, it helps reduces the guild boss rage meter significantly, which allows my both Jacob and Martial Blood to be in the battle for a longer period of time. The longer they are in the battle, right, the more damage that Martial Blood can scale up with her true damage there, because that's where most of the damage is coming through. So previously, right, in this team, I usually use like William as well as Hector, but with the help of Shane's ability is like Shane trait is working something similar to William's basic ability trait that amplifies the damage output of their basic abilities by 60%. Shane 1 is working for all abilities, not just the basic ability here. So this really works well for this team. And I believe that the damage output will also... I don't think the damage output will boost up the... I think it's boosting up the lightning damage as well, as you notice there. 7,046, 56,000, 5,617. Yeah, I don't think it's improving the lightning damage, because it's like jumping up and down. The lightning damage is not consistent, so I'm not sure whether it's really improving that damage output. If it does, right, then it will be super helpful. Alright, so we're now on round 7 and we already reached 2 million damage on this boss. Usually it's pretty difficult to get even 2 million on a regular team. Alright, that's another ultimate from Jacob here. With this team, right, I managed to reach up to close to 4 to 5 million damage, and if I'm lucky, I'll get until 6 million damage with this team. This one is mostly purely RNG, depending if the boss is able to not kill or stun your heroes. Currently the boss is targeting Shane because he has the highest health in his team, and with the revival set, right, it also helps him to recover his health to sustain the attack there. I think on round 9, right, the boss will perform the AoE attack, which is pretty devastating. For this team, right, I'm not really worried about the rage meter, but I'm more worried about the AoE damage that the boss can deal. So that's the AoE damage. Alright, my Bulin was able to tank the damage and not have his health below 50%, so he'll be able to attack in this round. Alright, we are now reaching 4 million damage. Okay, the next attack would be super devastating on round 10 once the boss takes his turn here. Okay, that's Jacob's ultimate again. We are able to knock down the rage meter very fast here, pushing the rage meter down all the way to 0. We are now reaching 5 million damage here. Okay, let's pick the attack here. So Bulin has the lowest health here, so the boss will target him. The boss will not target Jacob because Jacob is in permanent invisibility, so the boss will need to target other heroes here. Oh, that is 81,000 from true damage. Alright, that's our final ultimate attack here. Let's reach 6 million damage. Look at the damage output from Martial Blood. That's 2,000 from the true damage. Alright, so the boss have a lot of rage meter here, that's why he gets that. Alright, so I'll end this round and let's see how much the damage output that my hero dealt for the team A. So with the help of Shane, right, we managed to boost up my epic hero's damage to 2.2 million damage for Jacob and 2.1 million damage for Marisha Lubert. And is this 2. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 2 million. And 1.6 million damage from Bulin. And Shen is not doing much damage because he's basically a supporter hero here. So 2.2 plus 2.1, that is 4.3. Plus Bulin is 5.3. Close to 6 million damage. That's from one team itself. So for the final showcase, I'll be showing Shane on how you can use him to speed farm the adventure mode for the EXP jelly, as well as the gear for the gear enhancement and some gold coins. So in this team, I'll be using Sarah, Hitoshi, Shane, as well as Valeria. And for the spells, I'll be using Sarin Purgatory as well as Gaia's Renewal. So the role of Shane here is to apply the Law of Karma on the first wave as well as the last wave. If the last wave have a boss, this will help your team to do more damage. So at the start of the battle, Shane will do his thing. He will perform his special ability first to boost up your damage dealer, and then only uses his ultimate ability to apply the increased damage taken as well as the attack down. Then moving on to the second wave, he apply that defense down on the enemy that has the highest health here. Then this is the boss wave. Sometimes the adventure mode have some boss wave here, like this one, the Carl, that has a health bar showing up there. So if your hero is not strong enough, you can use a supporter hero like Shane to help boost up your hero's damage output. So this run took around about 33 seconds to complete this run. Alright, so this is the second squad that I'll be showcasing along with Shane. In case if you're just starting out and have only some elite heroes and epic heroes as your damage dealer, and luckily you have Shane on your account, you can use like this type of setup. Although it's much more slower compared to using epic heroes and legendary heroes, this one will help you during the early to mid game progression. So let's see this team in action. Alright, so at the start of the battle, I made Shane to go first so that he can apply those buffs as well as his ultimate, followed by Celine to do her AoE damage. And if you're able to have Celine build strong enough to nuke one of those enemy, this will trigger the red guy to deal his passive ability there. So I think the AI for Shane is keep on applying that boost up buff on the hero that has the highest attack here. So with the turtle guy, each time they attack the turtle guy, they will receive that true damage. So that is like a big AoE damage from Rogi as well as... Right, the boss has around about 31% health left. So the boss just received some true damage from Rogi there. Alright, so there you have it, elite heroes as well as one epic hero that you can get when you are progressing through the game. So this run took around about 1 minute and 4 seconds. Although it's quite slow, but eventually you'll be able to speed up your speed run once you get better heroes on your account. So that's the end of my video covering the showcase of Shane in various areas in the game, such as like No Man's Land Dungeon, Arcane Dominator, Guild Boss, as well as the arena. Do let me know down in the comments below where would you use him after watching this video. If you found this video helpful, do give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, do click on the subscribe button, which will help you get notified whenever I upload a new video on this channel. If you'd like to ask more questions about Shane, you can also contact me through the Discord, where I have a link in the video description below where you can join my Discord channel. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!